Hello, welcome to my social psychological analysis of a cultural artifact. My name is Daisy Clark, and I look forward to any feedback or questions for further discussion next week from the class. This presentation will cover elements of social psychology, identify these terms throughout the series A Million Little Things, and relate studies to those very examples. The theme is focused on family and friends, connections, and or not doing things in life alone. The main plot is about a man named Jonathan Dixon, who commits suicide, leaving his family and friends behind to cope together. This suicide uncovered many realities the entire group was unaware of, forcing them to deal with the carnage in John's wake. John left behind a wife, 2 children, and 3 best friends. He met his friends when all 4 of them were stuck in an elevator and experiencing high levels of anxiety. John, ironically enough, had a very positive outlook on life and was able to calm down his 3 newly found friends, and they all agreed to see the Boston Bruins whenever they could. They kept their promise and did exactly that. John ended up helping Eddie through addiction, Gary through breast cancer, and Rome through following his dreams. Social psychological elements to look for. Social thinking. How one interprets their world, thoughts, feelings, etc. You can change their mind by persuasion and instilling doubt in someone's mind. We all have a particular way of viewing the world around us, and it's unwavering, unless someone takes the time to make us feel doubtful. Then our outlook can shift. Social influence. Typically, it happens in an unconscious effort. Repetition of information or repeating information in various ways could make someone unconsciously believe that the given information is true. One could easily compare this to being around someone they really admire and notice later that they've adopted the slang their mentor uses. Social relations. This is the integrations and dynamics in a relationship of 2 or more individuals. Social relations has far more regard to prejudice, stereotypes, and biases. Every relationship we encounter is an example of this. Social thinking, an example from show, Season 3, Episode 16. Situational attribution theory. Rome explains his suicide attempt upon Sophie's request to express that he needed to invest more in his purpose, convincing Sophie to report who assaulted her. Cognitive dissonance. In the same episode, Rome must decide between not supporting his wife's restaurant during a financial conflict or directing an offensive commercial to have money for his wife's dream job. Social thinking, social psychological theories and research. Social attribution theory. When someone explains their thoughts, feelings, conflicts, resolutions throughout a situation. This is typically done in a manner to which another will understand the exact factors that came into play in the situation and how it affected the individual's thoughts given the circumstances. An explanation like this needs context, social and environmental details, and feelings. I personally like to explain why I made certain decisions and what circumstances were at play because I like my family and friends to know that I made decisions very carefully. Cognitive dissonance. When an individual has 2 beliefs that highly contradict each other, creating an extremely uncomfortable mindset. Studies have shown that more public dilemmas create greater levels of cognitive dissonance. I experience cognitive dissonance when I want to sleep in because I'm feeling tired, but I know that I should work out and not be behind in my day. Social influence. Example from the show throughout the series. Identification level of conformity. Sophie is an aspiring musician who admires Eddie and seeks lessons with him because he was a professional entertainer. Informative motive for conformity. In Season 1, Episode 9, Maggie finally is convinced by Gary that life is worth living and to give chemotherapy another chance. Social influence. Social psychological theories and research. Identification level of conformity. This level of conformity is someone's longing for emulating their role model or wanting to fit in with a certain group. Studies have shown that how someone feels about themselves versus others regarding group membership is responsible for the identification level of conformity. I have a Chief Master Sergeant that I used to serve in the Air Force with, and he is my biggest mentor. He's the reason why I got my bachelor's degree. Informative motive for conformity. Someone feels as though their ideas are wrong for some reason because an individual or group made them feel as such. Researchers claim that a person can experience both normative and informative motives at the same time for the same situation. I came across this situation personally when my family told me to slow down and relax more, despite my wanting to go to school and work more while my son is at his dad's. I know I need to do some self-care, so I made more time for it. Social relations. Examples from the show throughout the series. Reference group. After John passed away, his 3 best friends, wife, and children came together to support one another and would often rely on each other for decision-making refinement. Aggression. Eddie struggles with opioid addiction. While he remained clean for many years, he relapsed after he was hit by a car and wheelchair-bound. His addiction or his many life struggles could have escalated his reaction, but when a neighbor made fun of his son, he panicked, yelled, and hit the neighbor's vehicle. Social relations, social psychological theories, and research. Reference group. When the people who partake in a group feel like their membership adds to their identity or gives a sense of belonging. Studies have shown that men notably depend on reference groups. The military is a good example of a reference group for me, seeing as I served for 7 years and heavily identify with them. Aggression. A hateful or hostile act toward another meant to bring disappointment, shame, and/or psychological pain. Aggression is seen as so many lights, but I have seen it in instances where people are prejudiced and make people angry because of it. We live in a time where it is completely unacceptable to not have an open mind. It makes a lot of people upset. On this slide, you can find each reference that was cited throughout the presentation. Thank you for taking the time to review my project, and I look forward to any feedback or questions you may have. Have a great day.